really cover this. I just want to do a quick update, really, just kind of covering what came out a few days ago. I think it came out yesterday or the day before. I can't remember now. I was at work and somebody, I looked at it and I was like, wow, this is cool. Somebody mentioned it in chat about a new update that's coming to PC. Now, the reason I'm talking about this for console is because, yeah, it can possibly come to console. Now, it's not. I don't think it's going to be a game changer in terms of like bringing more players back and the rest of it, but it's definitely going to spice up the gameplay a bit more for a couple more weeks until people leave, probably. But you know, I might as well talk about it and put the information out there, just for people who play console, and you know, just spread some love, really. Just try and make console side a bit busier. So yeah, we'll have to see. So straight off the bat here, so they're bringing in new angled forward grips. Oh, I've just got to accept the cookies. Great. So you got angled forward grips. Now, down here, they're bringing out new attachments, basically. They're bringing out 829 new attachments. Now, there's not, from what I understand, I was looking at it, I was like, wow, 829 new ones? Damn, that's a lot of friggin' attachments. Like, go to the attachment store and put them all in a basket. But realistically, it's not 829 new attachments. It's just 829 attachments, basically. Because you're going to get some of the same attachments spread over whatever guns, if that makes sense. So basically, you've got the angled forward grip, which heavily reduces first shot recoil, and you've got heavy barrel that reduces cone of fire bloom while aiming down sights. Compensators are also getting looked at. For example, they're going to be made more powerful. Attachments that didn't affect weapons much more swap for different. So you got forward grips on sniper rifles, for example. So yeah, so they're changing basically all the weapon attachments, or bringing out new weapon attachments. So that's going to be interesting to see how they go. Now, this is something that could possibly come to PlayStation. So it's going to be interesting to see how they implement it, and if they actually do implement it. I mean, console side at the moment isn't doing too well. We had, I think, 120 players on the other day. So a lot of guys logged in and logged out because it's just not, there's not that many people on. And fights were a bit lackluster, to be honest. But anyway, so you got Directive Weapons here. Now, Directive Weapons, it looks like are getting looked at. Now, some of the weapons with baked-in attachments, as it says here. So, for example, I was reading down here, it's got Directive SMGs with built-in HVA and forward grips, for example. They're going to be changing it all now, so you can add attachments to your Directive Weapon. They're also, I was reading down here, that they're going to make Directive Weapons, like if you have ASP, they're going to make it so that you can use a Directive Weapon. So I think, for example, let me try and think of an example. So like with Engineer, if you had the ASP LMG, you are able to use the Directive Weapon. So, for example, the Godsaw or the Beetle or the Beetlejuice, I think it's called. Is it the Beetlejuice or the Beetle? I don't play VS, but for example, yeah, something like that. So it's going to be interesting to have an Engineer with the Godsaw. It's going to be good. Like, I'm really looking forward to that. That's a nice change. So, so it says here that shotguns. I'm trying to read it really. So, so you got impulse launchers. Carbines will have a new underbarrel called impulse launchers. The thing is with that, you just don't use underbarrel on console anyway, because you have to switch through fire modes. Very confusing. If they don't have fire modes, then you're fine. But we'll have to wait and see. Talk about new players. Obviously, a new player starts playing it, and yeah, it's just not very good. I just don't see underbarrel anything really useful. If you use underbarrel smoke launchers, you just end up smoking your old team hat, and then everyone logs off because the friggin' lag is terrible. But yeah. So I'm just trying to read this roughly and give you a guide. Obviously, you can look at this in more detail. I'll try and post a link in the description for it. But yeah, so it looks like they're bringing out new A7. Like somebody said they're making a new A7 tree in my Discord, and I was like, okay, well that's going to be interesting. But from what I can understand here, is that you've got Directive Weapons. You can add attachments to them, and you can also use them alongside an ASP. So for those of you who don't know, an ASP is something that you get at level 100. So when you get to level 100, you can select like an SMG secondary on like a light assault. You can select like an LMG. So you could have like a Promise engineer for NC, for example, a Promise on your engineer, or Gorsaw, stuff like that. So they're making it now that you can have the Directive Weapons, which is nice, something different. So the arsenal will work in noteworthy balance changes in the form of infantry and vehicle weapons. So this is going to be interesting. Now, we were speaking yesterday in my Discord about it, and a couple of guys were saying that what about OP weapons that maybe aren't used as much on PC but are used on console? Now, we were talking about notably the Canis, because most people hate the Canis. They hate fighting it. They just hate it in general. So the big question is it going to get buffed, you know, for console? If that's the case, then people are just going to log off even more because they already have a hard time fighting it. So balance changes, it'll be interesting to see. You know, I don't think they've said they're going to nerf any guns, but that's going to be interesting to see as well, because ages ago they were talking about nerfing the Gorsaw, or Rel kind of made a comment about it once, but nothing really happened. So maybe it was a joke, but I was thinking if you nerf the Gorsaw, then no one's really going to use it, like, again, because people use it now, but the recoil on it on PlayStation, it can be really hard to control. And most people, I've never had someone who really uses it a lot. Like, it's OP because if you hit headshots with it, you can down people, but it's if you hit headshots with it. Like on PC, really hard, really easy to use. PlayStation, not so much. So you don't see many people using it. Well, I don't anyway. I probably don't see them because I'm playing on NC. But yeah, anyway. That's probably why. But I don't hear people talk about the Gorsaw and say, oh, I used the Gorsaw and I went around killing everyone. Like, most of the time you use a CQB weapon, like the GD22 or something like that. So here it says that, so this is the big thing, Nanoweave basically is getting a change. So the small arms resistance is being removed. If you don't know what small arms resistance is, that's like any gun that shoots you, you get 20% small arms resistance to that. So resistance, small arms resistance, or small arms is any gun in the game. Well, not any gun in the game, but any handheld gun like a pistol, LMG, SMG, etc. Not like a tank weapon or like that. But basically, they're getting rid of the 20%. They're taking away the movement speed, from what I can gather here, because obviously it has movement speed on to try and make it less viable. But the problem is people are still going to use Nanoweave. And yeah, you know, it's whatever. But with the 10% reduced movement speed at the moment, it just makes it harder for new players to get into it. They use it and they've got 10%, you know, reduced movement speed, and they're getting shot in the head. Yeah, I've got to go soon. Man, I've just literally got in from work. So just to clarify, I've got so here you've got Adrenaline Shield is being looked at as well. You've got Nano Armor Cloak loses its passive. Power Knives are moving to a 2-shot body instead of a 1-shot kill. And shotguns are being overhauled. It looks like more consistent. The issue is on console, you have auto shotguns that do a ton of damage. And if you used to get people running around with heavy auto shotgun, which used to be a pain in the arse to fight against, and it was quite lame to fight against. So, I mean, are they going to buff that? Are they going to change it? You don't know, do you? You have to kind of wait and see. It'll be interesting to see how that is changed. So we'll have to see. So as you can see here, the Chimera is getting some love. The main cannon is getting a main cannon buff, and it's getting some added health, which is pretty cool. So while the Valkyrie will gain some, so the Valkyrie is also getting looked at, which is nice. Now the Valkyrie in its current state is kind of a bit of a meme. You use it to get to the place where you're going with your squad, and then you just ditch it. You could like fly around in it, but again, it's not very useful. If an enemy air comes up to you, like a mosquito or something, like say you're playing NC, mosquito comes, you're just going to die, and you can't. Well, you can 1v on it, but yeah, realistically, you just don't. Most people just end up dying or getting killed or whatever. So it's going to be interesting to see how this affects the Valkyrie and if it makes the Valkyrie more viable, which is going to be good. So you've got Empire Pacific backlist. Now, all this is these just different skins. So they're going to put different skins and make the backlist more viable. Or not more viable. It's still viable. Well, I think it's viable anyway on console, but they're just going to give it a different skin. So it's going to be the same gun, different skin, basically. And they're going to make it to different empires. So NC is going to get their own skin. VS are going to get their own skin, and etc. It kind of looks like the Vulcan. So it'll be interesting to see the new M18 Palisade. That's what it's called. But it's basically just a backlist. So you got mines, grenades, and more. So here, Havoc Missiles, Havoc Missiles in general, are anti-heal air-to-air missiles. So it's going to be interesting to see how the mines work. If, for example, mines detonate and then stop a max from healing or something. So that's going to be interesting. You've got Flash, Havoc, Concussion, Empire Pacific mines. So you get concussion mines and EMP mines and flash mines. It's going to be really interesting. It's going to really, add something different to what's already there, and just, I think make implants more viable, like the mine implant, stuff like that. So it's going to be sick. So you got Deliverer module. I don't know what that is. Allowing it to become a spawn point whenever it can deploy. Yeah, that's for the ant. Yeah, gets a Deliverer module and allowing it to be a spawn point, which is not in no construction zones, and provide vehicle ammunition in an area. So yeah, so the mines is going to be a good thing. I'm looking forward to the mines. I'm also looking forward to the the LMG on an NG. I'm looking forward to using the Godsaw on an engineer with attachments. That's going to be sick. That's going to be really nice. It's going to be a really nice change. So all these things are, they're possible to come to PlayStation, because it's going to be good. It says here purchase items with Daybreak cash in addition to A7 currency. So I'm guessing you could purchase A7 currency with Daybreak now. You get the Protostart Lodestar, current has access to the... Yeah, you could read all about it, but I just thought I'd go over the basics. Stuff like the mines, like the timed EMP, impulse, stuff like that. It's going to be interesting to see how these are implemented. It's just going to make... it's a bit cheesy, really, but at the same time, it's just something different, isn't it? Now, anything different is good, so we'll have to see. Now, I'm going to leave it there because I'm rambling, but you get it. You get what's coming. Hopefully, this comes to PlayStation. Let's wait and see. Somebody said they're going to be testing probably soon, like as early as next week, if all goes to plan. Now, obviously, this is just some guy saying it, so I don't take his word for it, but I hope it kind of does, in a way. I hope it kind of does. So we'll have to see. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Hope you have a great day, guys, and I'll see you soon.